Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look here at the HG Build Divers Re-Rise Gundam Tertium. Now, we've already taken a look at the Gundam Seltsam, and this is pretty much going to be mostly the same thing, except obviously it doesn't have the big iconic arm of the Seltsam. We do see the Seltsam face there in the background, which I just noticed, which is pretty cool. And it has a kind of normal-ish head there as well, so it's going to be a step towards the kind of normal Mark III, but it's still not quite the Mark III. So I don't know if we're ever going to get an HGUC Gundam Mark III. I would assume probably at some point, but this is at least a little bit closer to that. Anyway, pretty cool design. Between this and the Seltsam, honestly don't know which one I prefer. Let's just build it and compare to find out. So anyway, cool box art here on the front. I'm actually really surprised that this is a standard release and not a P-Band release. But hey, whatever the reason, I'm not going to complain about that, right? So really nice box art here, and going here onto the side. Got 16 in the line. Let's take a look down here at the bottom of the box. You can see here just a couple of action poses with that rifle and beam saber there, a detailed shot of the head, and then a look at the backpack. So you can see the backpack is going to also be the same. So if you got the option parts there from the Seltsam Arms option parts set, you could use those weapons here. You could replace the arm, obviously, and you could place the lance there on the back as well. So just something you could do if you got that option set. You could use those parts on here. Something like this. Over here you can see the shield and the lance there used with that if you just get that option part set. So pretty cool. Looks like you can plug the rifle onto the back skirt as well. Nice. And go around here onto the top of the box here. You can just see a nice front and back look. Oh yeah, I forgot. It actually has two rifles. Yeah. So one of them plugs onto the back skirt. The other one just is held in the hand there. I'm not sure if that one also is able to be plugged onto the back skirt or not, but I guess we'll find out. Honestly, the backpack without anything plugged into it looks a little bit plain. I wish they would have given us like some little bits to at least plug into the side there. Something like, I don't know, like the Delta Gundam or like the Hyakushiki's sort of like wing binders or something like that on there. Maybe it could have looked cool. I don't know, something, an idea for a kit bash maybe. So the list price for this kit was about 1900 yen. So should be costing you around 20 bucks, maybe something like that for this kit, which is pretty standard for an HG. You can see you've got just some black, kind of very dark gray, blackish and purple parts. Pretty nice color scheme for this as well, with the black, white, purple, and some yellow accents on there. Some kind of bluish purple color there. Bluish, I guess. So some nice colors for this. I like the color scheme. For the top half of the front of the manual there, we got the box art once again. On the bottom half, as usual, we've got a nice illustration of the Gundam and some information here. So we'll take a look there at that illustration. It looks very cool. Really like that illustration style. And then over here, some information about the Gundam Tertium. Down here about Sid or Masaki Shido, I guess is the pilot of that, and then the Alice. There you go. So you got some information all about that stuff. On the back here, customized plan about the material Gunpla, obviously being the Gundam Mark III, but we don't have any sort of reference for that quite yet. We got a little bit there about the beam sabers. It's got two of those. It's also got the beam rifle. It says that it has two types of beam rifle, and it uses each type depending on the mission. Okay, right. And then once again, if you get the Seltsam Arms parts, you can use those on here, of course, as well. Down here, we've got the color guide. That's there in Japanese and in English, if you want to refer to that. Then opening it up to our parts list here, it looks like we're going to have a couple of crossed off parts on there. We're going to be using most of everything. Looks like just a couple parts over here on the C and D runner. Maybe we'll have a couple leftovers, but not a whole lot. Otherwise, the construction looks pretty standard there. Torso, head, arms, legs, 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 legs. Back around to our color construction pages here. We got the waist unit, and then the weapons, pretty simple there. Just a couple of parts each. Beam saber is the same thing, and then just how to equip the weapons. How to equip the Seltsam Arms weapons, also pretty straightforward. Just plug them onto the backpack. So simple enough. Let's just take a look at the runners then. Alright, so for our foil stickers, as you can see, very minimal here. Just one for the eyes and two for a couple of cameras there, and that's it. We got our standard PC002 polycaps and SB13 clear pink beam saber effect parts. Now we're skipping runner A and going right to runner B1 here, which is just parts in white, as you can see, and it's a very bright white color. Actually, as it looks on there, it does look like it has a slight tint of purple to it, and taking a look at the manual here, it does say a small dose of purple, so basically it just means white with a tiny drop of purple in it. Anyway, it's going to be the same runner that we saw with the Seltsam, except it has the addition of these parts down here for the new parts for the head. We do also have a runner B2, which is a copy of this half of the runner over here. The runner C1 is in this really dark navy color here for a bunch of joint parts, weapons parts, things like that. This runner as well, you can see we've got the parts added on there that are new for this kit for the rifles over here on this side. And yeah, so you got some different new parts there. We also got runner C2, which is a copy of this section of the runner there. Runner D here, just a couple of parts in this very purplish blue color, very similar to the color that we saw recently with the Master Grade Phas Verka Got 2 of this D runner. Runner E1 here is a nice kind of desaturated purple color. I really like this as well. Got runner E2 for a copy of this section of the runner over here, minus these parts for the torso. And lastly, runner F for just a couple parts here in a very nice, slightly pale yellow color. So that is it for all the runners. Let me go ahead and get this put together and then we'll see how it looks. Alright, and here is how it's gonna look when it's all built up, and I gotta say, I was expecting to like this much more than the Seltsam Gundam. I mean, there's things I like about the Seltsam, but I was just expecting to like this kind of a little bit more standard design a little bit more, but actually now that it's built up, I'm not sure if I really prefer this one or not, but it is very cool. I mean, I still like both of them. Both of these designs are really interesting, and this one I think I'm going to like it a lot more when it's posed up and everything. And also just the colors straight out of the box, while I really like the purple, the white is just really bright and just doesn't really look, I don't know, I think with some pen aligning and some flat coat it will look a lot better. Now just that really bright shiny white is just very toy-like looking, so it's definitely a kit that I think you should plan on at least doing some pen aligning and top coat on this, even if you don't want to paint up the whole thing. But compared to the Seltsam, as we'll see in a moment when we do a comparison, there's really not a whole lot new about this. I mean, just the head is new. Otherwise, every single other part of this has been built already with Seltsam Gundams, so that means we can skip over going through all of the articulation because it's going to be exactly the same, but let's talk about the accessories because those are at least new with this one as well. Right, so for hand options, we've just got the 2 regular holding hands on there. Those are going to be the ones you're primarily going to use, but the manual does also tell you to cut out and use these other hands, which are these open holding hands. Presumably these are going to be used for the eventual HGC Mark III Gundam, but for this they're not really actually able to be used with anything with this. The manual just says to use them freely. Then we've got our 2 beam sabers with the handles and the beam saber effect parts there. These handles can't actually be stored anywhere on the kit, so they just have to be handheld or not at all. And then we've got our 2 different beam rifles. Now this is a little bit more kind of slick design here. It doesn't have any sticker there for the camera, but I think you could cut off a little tiny piece off of the sticker sheet and stick it on there if you wanted. But otherwise it's pretty simple. You have a little connection point here that will allow you to plug this onto the back skirt here if you wanted to store the rifle on there like that. Otherwise this is just held in the hand like normal. The other rifle does have a little sticker that goes on the front for the camera there, and this is a really cool design. I really like the design of this rifle. It's quite interesting. It has this little bit that goes off to the side here with a little cable going out to the back. This one can also be plugged onto the back skirt here in the same way, so you can choose that one. So it's pretty cool that this comes with 2 rifles. I actually wouldn't really want to keep mine having 2 different rifles, so probably I will end up just using one and giving the other one to a different kit later on as just a kit bash sort of thing. So I like the fact that we get a spare rifle that you can use for something else. And now here's a look just at the 2 kits side by side. As you can see, going to be pretty much all the same. The shoulder armor, the arms, the legs, the waist, the body is all the same here. Just in this case, the Seltsam case, you're only building one of the arm. In the case of the Tertium here, you're just building the same arm twice. And then just the head is just going to be a little bit different. Even the backpack, as I mentioned before, not going to be any different at all, unfortunately. But I suppose the nice part about that is that all the weapons and accessories are compatible between the 2 of them. If you wanted to mix and match, like say giving your second rifle to the Seltsam or something like that, you could do that, or giving some of the Seltsam different weaponry, armor parts onto the Tertium Gundam here. So anyway, one other thing that I just wanted to point out is that I didn't really notice this with the Seltsam Gundam, but I definitely am noticing it here with the Tertium Gundam, is that the head is like really deep, seems really deep inside this torso part. The torso part, either that or comes really high up there, so it seems like the head is like really sunken into the torso there if you have it posed down like at any downward angle like that. So you have to kind of have the head pointed up so that it doesn't look like it's totally sunken down into the torso, which is kind of strange. But unfortunately, one thing I am noticing about the beam saber handle is that the beam saber handle is very thin and it doesn't really fit super well in the hand. So if you have like it just stood straight up, the whole thing would basically just fall straight through the hand. So you have to kind of have it at an angle like that. Of course, there's very simple ways to fix that just to make the beam saber handle stick in its hand. Just a heads up to you guys that it's not exactly the best fit there. And I also just want to point out too, while I'm trying out some poses with the kit, is that I'm finding the wrist joints very tight and the shoulder joint where the arm plugs into the body to be quite loose. The arms fall out kind of a little bit too easy in my opinion. So again, very easy fixes. I would just sand the ball joint on the wrist a little bit just so that's not quite so tight. And you know, there's ways that you can just put some whatever you want on there, glue, paint, whatever onto the ball joint on the shoulder to make that a little bit tighter in the polycap there. But overall, still a pretty cool kit. I gotta say, the 2 different rifles is really nice, and just the overall design is a cool design, cool colors, and also the cannons in the front of the legs also still pretty cool as well. It's kind of a nice little hidden feature there, and just
I like the design, it's a good solid kit, it just doesn't really, I think, have anything that really makes it super exciting. If you're into the design, then you'll love it, it's a nice good kit. But if it's not a design that you're really particularly into, then I don't think it's going to really do a whole lot for you otherwise, because it's just a pretty simple HG, but that's not necessarily in a bad way, it's just relatively simple. It's a case where it doesn't really make sense that this was a standard release, as it seems like this is exactly the sort of thing that Bandai would typically make into a P-Bandai kit, but for whatever reason they didn't, and they just made it a standard release, so we should be happy about that it was not made into a P-Bandai release. So anyway, interested to know what you guys think about it. Is it something that you're really excited about or not? Let me know your thoughts. And of course, if you have any other questions about the kit, do feel free to let me know down there in the comment section as well. Thank you so much. And again, just a reminder to check out USA Gundam store. The link is in the video description as well. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.